So let's start. So welcome. Today I have a fantastic guest and we are going to have an interesting conversation. So please meet Stefano. Stefano is a fantastic consultant, agile coach, expert when it comes to Scrum and Agile. And I had the pleasure to meet him on my PST candidate journey. And when we spent some time together as PST candidates, we realized that there's a flow, there's a fantastic connection, and there are plenty of fantastic topics that we can talk together about. So welcome, Stefano.
Thank you, Joanna. I'm so glad to work with you and to talk with you about Scrum and whatever is interesting for organization and teams.
Superb. Okay, so we already agreed that there's a lot of material and content when it comes to Scrum Masters. Sometimes we have discussions who's Scrum Master, who's Agile Coach, who's some kind of consultant. So now we would love to move a bit towards different accountability in our Scrum team and talk about product owners. So, Stefano, how would you describe product owners' accountability?
Well, a product owner is, first of all, it's very important because they are accountable for the value that we are delivering with our team. So it's something that is an accountability that is very often underrated by organizations. And what happened to me during agile adoption from organizations is that product manager or project manager were just renamed to product owners, and so losing that way the actual importance. That means a project manager usually is more focused on a list of things that have to be done, on collecting things that have to be done, less than on the value that we are delivering to the customer, to the final customer. So this is why I'm so a fan. I'm such a fan of product owners, because the product owner is more focused and is exactly focused on value. So that's the main difference, and that's the thing that I'm trying always to explain and to coach the organizations too. So focus on value.
Fantastic. So we try to move from scheduling, having plans, helping executing the plan, more towards thinking about value, how to maximize this value, how to make sure that the developers who do the actual work, they really focus and invest in the things that can bring value to the user, to the customers.
Yeah, that's the thing. And in order to do that, there are many things that a product owner has to do. I mean, it's not just participating to events, it's not just talking to stakeholders during the events, during reviews, sprint reviews, but it's much more. And it's just from the very beginning, before the product is actually developed, there are many things that the product owner has to do, like thinking about a proper product vision. I'm very used to think about a product owner leveraging on the 3 V's, like vision, value, and validation. So first of all, the vision, which is something that, as you said, Joanna, the developers have to understand, to know what they are working, what they are producing, what they are delivering. So I think that the vision is the best starting point to do that. And it has to be a proper one. I mean, it has to be inspiring. It has to be well understood by everyone who has a stake on the product. So yes, this is the very starting point of what the product owners should do and should be focused on.
Okay, so you mentioned 3 V's, you mentioned vision, that it has to be inspirational. So I hear that it's not only about the value, but understanding the why, maybe motivational aspects comes here. What do you think about it?
Yes, the why. So a product is there because it has to fulfill a need. So that's a why we are delivering. We are thinking about delivering that product. So it's so important to be as a product owner, not just someone who has a vision about the product and that's it. He's more or she is more an entrepreneur of a CEO for the product. So they should have to think about an actual business plan, a business model for the product. And this usually goes very deep inside the why we are delivering that product, and if it's sustainable by the organization, if it's something that could help the organization to make some kind of profit, and what's the amount of profit. Another thing I think is very important, that very often is hidden for the product owner, is the financial aspect of the product. I mean, budgeting, I mean, return on investment, and so on. So whenever you think why about you are delivering a product, you have to think a lot about the financial aspect of it, which is important for the life of the product, for maintaining it in the future.
Thank you. I really like the CEO metaphor. So if we look at product owner as the, let's say, mini CEO, we may end up with a conclusion, hey, there's a lot of work when it comes to product ownership. So why do we have just one accountability, one person in our Scrum team that is taking care of product ownership? And how product owners can achieve this maximizing of the value when there's a lot of things to do to make a good product.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, the starting point that you are mentioning is there are many things to do, and there could be the need of having many people doing that. And this is why the organizations very often do that mistake of spreading the product ownership to different managers or middle managers, line managers inside the organization, and losing the perspective of decisions. So having someone who makes the final decisions about things, that doesn't mean being a dictator on the product, but listening, analyzing the marketplace, listening to stakeholders, customers, and so on, and finally making the decision. I think it's very important that this accountability is just for one person, because this avoids the organization to have wars inside the organizations, because there are different views about some specific parts of the product. Because people basically, it's not because they are bad, but because they have a very narrow perspective on the product. So it's very important that the person is one and that has a very high and complete perspective on the product. So this is why it's not easy, but this is why it's necessary that a product owner is just one product backlog. One product owner is the what we have learned a lot during our journey in Scrum. And I think it's right. It has a specific reason, and on the other hand, it's not easy to let the organizations understand that that's the right way of product ownership.
I
I
agree.
don't know. What do you think about this, Joanna?
I agree. This is a great explanation about one person, and I'm happy that you emphasize this decision-making aspect. So I faced in my professional career a lot of situations when decision was not made, and the conclusion and lessons learned were that sometimes it's better to make worse decision and learn thanks to that instead of postponing decisions. So this is, I would say, something tricky that I've learned about Agile and Scrum, about how you make decisions in the complex work, is that the optimal decision-making process not necessarily mean having the best decisions, especially at the very first try.
Yeah, it's the so-called last responsible moment when you have to take a decision, and
Right.
that it is better than no making decisions at all. No, so it's yes, it's something that you have to have the sensitivity to do that. It's not something that you learn overnight. It's something that you learn with experience and delivering the product, if we are talking about a specific product. So yes. Yes,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah, that's true. So I think we all agree that we want to have one product owner,
Yeah.
and it makes a lot of sense. So what about all the things that product owner has to do? How to handle all the things, all the activities, all the possibilities, opportunities that they can look for within just simple, let's say, 8 hours working day. So how do they do that?
Yeah, well, first of all, they have to be focused on that. I mean, being a part-time product owner, I don't think it's a great idea. I understand that small organizations, startups really struggle with that. But whenever you're focused on the product, and that product is the purpose of your organization, you have to think about the product, a full-time product owner. And we already mentioned the vision. So we have to craft a proper product vision and communicate it. So it takes time to do that. I mean, to craft a proper one and to let it being understood by everyone interested on the product. You have to study the product domain, which is maybe is not a trivial thing, because you may come from a different experience, a different sector, so you have to learn about it. You can do that by studying and navigating the marketplace, studying what the competitors are offering, which is, sometimes we always think that we have to be unique in everything, that someone else's ideas are not that good, that just our ideas could be the best ones because they are new. Yes, that could be a point, but let's look what other people did. What's their experience in the marketplace? What are the challenges that they had to face? What the results? So I think that knowing the marketplace the best way is another very important and I think very challenging and nice point to do. Creating a business model, as I said before, it takes time because you have to talk to many sectors of your organizations, to look for information about, again, competitors, about the best channels to deliver your product, about revenues, what are the possibility of having an actual revenue on what I'm selling to my customers. There are many things that you can do both visually and to study with the team, like building a roadmap. I love story mapping, so I'm used to work with the team, laying down a story map, discuss with them and stakeholders about that, and that automatically gives me a good perspective on a release plan, or a possible release plan. So yes, these are yes, things that a product owner can do, and without mentioning what a product owner can do with related to the customers, to the final customers, like collecting feedbacks, analyzing them. It's we know that the one of the most important words are deliver. But if you deliver and you don't get the feedback back, so it's you know, it's I don't think it's useless, but it's we limit the value that we are providing in the next sprint. So
yes, I agree. Empiricism does not mean that we just deliver, create product increment, deliver to customer and just wait. I perceive empiricism as a very scientific method, and without closing the feedback loop, gathering feedback, gathering data, and we can think about different ways, right? Because we have different biases. Like we do not always have to just listen to what people say, but observing how people use the product might be another fantastic way to gather data, which in fact, in many aspects, might be much useful than just having a conversation, right?
Yeah, and it's hard. I mean, sometimes it involves creating technical features that allows you to collect that feedback, or finding ways of having an actual proper feedback from the customer. Because you know, a feedback could be of different qualities. We could have a very good one, or we could have a feedback that biases in some way what the customer is trying to transmit, to communicate. So it's it's a hard thing. It's not that simple. Okay, I can just craft some kind of survey or poll, and that's it. It's not just that. It's a survey has to be well studied and focus on what's we think is more valuable on the product, or collect what we think, what the customer thinks that it's valuable for the product. So it's not that easy.
I have a feeling that the word of our talk is challenging, difficult. So I guess that we should try to bring more advice to make current product owners, or possibly future product owners, feel that although challenging, it's doable. It's something worth investing your time. People spend a lot of time to become a good product owner. So what would be your advice? We already mentioned focus and having it as a full-time as the best practices. What else could we say about it?
Yeah, work on the knowledge that you have, not just on the product domain, as we said, but on monitoring the value. We know that Scrum.org has a great framework for that. Let's call it framework, like EBM, evidence-based management. I think it's a great it's a great thing that every product owner should delve into, and find the best way to apply. I think that the key value areas are something that an actual product owner shouldn't should work on, and should really understand, because measuring and having the right perception of the current value on the unrealized value is the first thing that you have to think whenever you are working on a product. And then, okay, the ability to innovate, the time to market as well, because we know that we have to maintain the product, to have it updated, not just for funny features, but for features that actually are bringing value. So that means learning a lot of things, because if we go deeper on the four key value areas of EBM, we understand that what we can measure are not just related to the customer, to the value that we are delivering with the Scrum team, but they are very related to people, how people are involved in the product development, how they understand and they see that their work is related to the vision of the product. And sometimes we always think about the product, the value of the product, but the value of the product is composed of many things, and the employee satisfaction is one of them. So we have to measure that as well. So there are many things that are not just related to the product that a product owner has to learn. I think that EBM is a great one. Investing on courses like we know that Scrum.org has a great learning path for product owners. So having an actual training with a PST, with a professional Scrum trainer, is a great opportunity to learn about what the accountability brings inside, and to also to have a conversation with other product owners. So I think that talking with other people is exchanging experiences is really important for someone who is starting or wants to improve their product ownership. What do you think, Joanna?
Yeah, I love this advice. So another, excuse me, another challenge. Yes, we have to learn, but we are not alone in this learning process. It's good to look for support, for communities. Maybe you have different product owners in a bigger organization. It's worth to learn from each other. It's worth to share experience. On the top of that, I would add one more thing. You mentioned a lot about people, like we care about our employees' engagement score. We care about their commitment, their understanding of why when it comes to our product. I also love emphasizing that product owner is accountability, which means that this is a typical, especially when organization is bigger or it is growing, that there are people around our product owner that support them. So I've seen product owners working together with designers, with analysts. It did not mean that they lost some part of their accountability. It was always there, but they were able to delegate some of the things to others to work as a team. And I see a lot of value in that, to have a clear understanding. Okay, we have a decision maker when it comes to how to maximize the value of the product. And at the same time, we are always open. Our door, our windows are always open for collaboration, for supporting each other. And we have, again, Scrum values coming into place. So I would expect the product owner to say openly that they have challenges with doing some of the things. It's okay to ask for help. One of my favorite examples was that The Scrum team member, the developer, volunteered to support in talking to customers, in going to the competitors and pretending to be a potential customer, to gather data, to understand the product, to understand how their customer support works. So I think it's all about the team.
Yeah, it's definitely all about the team. And yes, we have to understand that the product owners sometimes can feel really lonely.
Lonely, yeah, and overwhelmed.
And so yes, it's something that sometimes the product owner is yes, is the one to be supported by the team. I really believe in mutual support inside the team and the broader organization. Yes, and it's a lot about empowerment of the product owner as well. Sometimes the product owner doesn't feel really involved in the product, because he sometimes feels that she is not empowered by the organization to do that, and this brings to feeling alone. I mean, yes, you can have the support by the team, but you don't feel like you can actually make a powerful decision for the product. So yes, it's pretty tricky. It's pretty complicated. The Scrum Guide says that yes, these are the accountabilities. We know that everything that we see in the Scrum Guide could look simple at first. Mastering the accountabilities is complicated, and every organization, we know, is different. So the challenges and the feelings that we are experiencing are really different. So we have to be prepared to do that.
I'm really glad that you are mentioning that, and I would love to ask one more question, because I'm very interested. What is your opinion in that matter? So recently I had a few very challenging and interesting discussions that because of the problem that you just described, like lack of empowerment of product owners, some of the product owners claim that no, we are not product owners. We are product managers. So I was a bit surprised to learn that management of the product in somebody's eyes means more than ownership of the product. However, when you look at the market and you try to count different examples of this lack of empowerment, not being able to make decisions as product owner, as Scrum Guide describes that. So I'm now hesitant whether I should fight for the name in some of the situations when there is a clear wall, like, no, please don't call me product owner, because it may mean that I'm just a proxy of someone's decisions.
Yeah, well, this is the strength of naming, accountability, of naming things and people, most important. Well, I think that naming the right way drives a proper change. Being a manager is something that is part of ownership, of the ownership concept. So sometimes organizations choose not to use the owner part of the accountability, because they have a great fear of the change. And this is why owning a product means that we are empowered to make all the decisions about it. Of course, the organization is always knows what's happening. We are very transparent with the Scrum team, so it's not something that is going nowhere, something that is going toward a direction that we don't know. But anyway, that ownership, that traditionally was part of the work of some specific managers. Giving that ownership to one person, for them, it's sometimes they find a very high risk. Okay, so yes, they prefer to call them managers, and people prefer to be called manager, because maybe that they find it more, they find it closer to what they were used to do. So I think that this hides somehow a fear of change. If you really understand what ownership is, that is making decisions about the value of what we are delivering, I think that you have to change what you're doing. So you are not a product manager, you are a product owner. Ownership means something different. So I think it's something that is mixed up with organizations and the people who are very, very, very still close to what the traditional way of developing a product gives them, like more security, more familiarity, and I think a subtle fear of the changement.
Yeah, thank you. I feel this ownership in the same way. So I also asked the similar question to one of my colleagues, and she told me a quite powerful short sentence. In fact, product owner may be perceived as agile product manager. And the most important thing is really what those people do, and if they have a proper understanding of product ownership when it comes to Scrum, is there really something to fight for? So I always try to think about value, as you mentioned at the very beginning of our conversation. So what is the value of having this conversation if we are able to still work on agile product development, if we are focused on value of our product increments, and everything works as you described. There is, of course, a small hope in my heart that we will be able to extend this understanding. Sometimes I also hear that when it comes to product discovery, so different methods of prototyping, so we avoid creating actual increments, and before that happens, we, for instance, use, I don't know, some kind of mocking, like Wizard of Oz techniques and so on, to learn about the product. Personally, I perceive it as a valuable tool for product owner, and I do not feel this wall, to be fully honest with you. I think that the good product owner understands that there's plenty of different tools that they can use to learn what should be the best possible direction for product development.
Yeah, well, is that useful for you as a product owner to collect a proper feedback to better define the value that you are going to deliver with the product? If it is, do it. I don't think there is something that, yeah, sometimes we say no, mocking or making proof of concept is not that the actual way of starting or of improving a product. It depends. It depends if it's useful for something. If you think that you can collect great feedback from that, I think you have to do that. And of course, yes, you can even find better ways of doing that. Maybe that with the actual product you can find different or more feedback, but in that specific moment, that's what you were able to do. And you were maximizing the value and the feedback that you could collect. So yes, I totally agree.
Okay, that was a fantastic discussion. So thank you, Stefano. It was great to talk about product owners. Sometimes I feel like we should talk more about them, about what they do, especially because of this value maximizing theme, which seems as one of the most important things. So the goal of every sprint should be learning, creating value, and how should we know what to do, where to invest our efforts if we do not have a clear product vision, if we do not understand our product goal, if we are not able to create some smaller stepping stones towards our product goal, basically sprint goals. Okay, so last question, last statement, last piece of advice for our dearest product owners.
Well, my advice is focus about what you are doing or what you're going to do. As moving, I mean, think about what you're doing as a path, as a journey, from being receiving information to be someone who actually initiates something inside the product development. So being more and more an entrepreneur of the product. This is my advice. Just think about it more about that.
Okay, fantastic metaphor. So we are on the journey. Not only this is journey about the product, but it's also a journey for product owners, for their development, for improving their skills. Fantastic. I love it. So let's pack our backpacks and start our journey.
Yeah, that's the thing. We have always something to learn, and there's something that we can improve. And I think that can be done always with the right mindset, of course.
Thank you. Thank you. That was a very pleasant conversation. Thank you for joining me. I'm really grateful for our talk, and I hope that someone will also find value in it. Thank you, Stefano.
I hope too. Thank you, Joanna. It's always a pleasure to talk with you.